the future Hall of Fame kicker here on the program. How are you, Adam?
I'm doing very well, Rich. Thanks for having me on.
What do you think of when you hear that call from Gil Santos all these years later?
Boy, it never gets old. I still kind of get goosebumps thinking about it. It brings you right back to that moment. And I don't care how many times or whatever, the first time you have an opportunity to win a Super Bowl, it stays with you forever, that's for sure.
So walk me through those moments, best you can recall them, Adam, when you made that kick.
Well, it was one of those games that we weren't expected to even be in the game. It was a 21-point underdog before we started. Coach Belichick had a real good game plan that we were gonna try to mug all their receivers on the line of scrimmage and just really attack them on the line of scrimmage and not let them release well. Well, it seemed to work out well. We got a couple turnovers and got off to a nice lead. They came back and tied it up with about a minute and a half left. And I remember John Madden saying, well, they should probably just kneel it and go into overtime. And we decided to let Tom Brady and the boys try their magic one more time and march it down the field, which they did. And very meticulously, that just 10 yards here, 10 yards there, blocked the ball. And I got an opportunity to run out there and try my luck on a 48-yard game winner in the Super Bowl to put the icing on the cake. And well, I tell you, it's funny because you think about that as a kid and having the opportunity to play in the Super Bowl and to try to put your stamp on it at the end was amazing. It couldn't have been any more surreal, any more perfect for our situation. And the guys up front, Lonnie Paxton and Ken Walter, my long snapper and holder, did a great job. And when the ball left my foot, it felt good, but I had to look up, make sure it was going in the right spot, and then it was just celebration from there.
Did somebody say, do you remember if anybody said anything to you before you went on the field for that kick, Adam?
Well, before every game winner, everybody kind of treats you like you've got some contagious disease. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to look at you. They don't want to touch you. But Willie McGinnis and Lawyer Malloy were the only two guys in my whole career that really much said anything to me before that stuff. And I think it was Lawyer standing there, and as I trotted out, he gave me a little swat on the butt and said, "Come on, man, let's get this thing," that kind of thing. So most of the time they don't say much at all, but it's kind of weird. You see in the movies when a big play or something like that happens, they always portray it in the movies like slow-mo and everything gets quiet, and it really kind of feels like that. It really does. I was aware of everything that was going on around me. You could hear John of our team and their team talking back and forth and them trying to say stuff to me, but it really slows everything down, and you really focus in on your little world. I guess the crowd and the noise and all that stuff all went away, and I just thought about the ball coming to the holder and me doing my job. So it still is an amazing thought and feeling when I think back to that day and some of the other days. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's not your only game-winning kick in the Super Bowl. The NFL Network's first ever Super Bowl was the one you ended against the Carolina Panthers in Houston. And then, of course, that kick that we're talking about doesn't happen if you didn't make the one in the snow in the so-called tuck rule game, Adam. So, I mean, which is the biggest kick you think you've made in your career?
I think for sure the most difficult and the most pressure-packed would be the one in the divisional playoff game in the snow against the Oakland Raiders. They call it the Snow Bowl or whatever. I think just sheer difficult. There's 6 inches of snow on the ground. We're down by 3. No time left on the clock. I don't think you could portray a more crazy situation or more difficult situation for you. But, fortunately we went out there and it's probably a pretty low percentage kick. Everybody asked me when it first happened and, probably, 50-50. And then I look back and think back at it and it's probably a lot less than that, but I made the one that I needed to. And, like you said, some of the other stuff maybe never happens. I know the first Super Bowl we don't have an opportunity to play in that if we don't win that game. So I think that one's probably the one that I'm the most proud of because it's probably the most difficult kick I've ever had. But there's something like kicking a game winner in a Super Bowl and being world champs. That never, ever gets old. That's for sure.
Well, I noticed you just described that game in 3 different ways except calling it the tuck rule game, Adam. That's fast. That was well done right there. That was impressive.
I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about?
Snowball, divisional playoff.
I know. No, no, it was a interesting situation. I still get people from the Bay Area, the Oakland area, that still gives me a tough time over it. You know, the rule was the rule. They changed it after the fact, but the way the rule stated, it was the right call, and thank goodness for us, we had another opportunity, you know.
Adam Vinatieri here on the Rich Eisen Show. I don't know if you've been following the NBA playoffs at all, Adam. The reason why I bring it up is how Drew Bledsoe got thrown in the middle of this Celtics playoff run because Terry Rozier once referred to the Milwaukee Bucks' Eric Bledsoe as Drew, and then Bledsoe fired back at him, and now Drew Bledsoe has been thrown in the middle of this thing, rooting for a guy who's wearing number 12, filling in for an injured player wearing number 11, and has been so open about it and seemingly so joyous about it. I'm wondering, from your perspective, what it was like back then with Bledsoe and Brady and seeing him embraced as he is in Boston right now.
Oh, yeah. No, I have paid a little bit of attention. Obviously, in Indiana, I have to search around for Celtics basketball and stuff like that, but not during the playoffs. It's easy to find it, but yeah, you know, it's kind of a cool situation on what's going there, and you know, fans in the Boston area are very, very fanatical. They love their teams. They're very passionate about their sports, and they really rally behind guys. And I tell you what, Drew was a great teammate. You know, he kind of helped build that franchise to get us to that point. I obviously played in the Super Bowl my rookie year in '96 and kept the team, you know, as the leader, as the offensive leader, kept, you know, at a high standard, a playoff standard. But when he got injured and Brady came in and kind of took over and really became who Brady was, I have a huge respect for what Drew did. He was always supportive. He was always there helping. He stepped in the AFC Championship game, threw a couple touchdowns and helped us win that game, and then turned around and graciously, I don't know, I mean, I'm sure it was tough on him, but he took the back seat in the Super Bowl and did nothing but help the team win that game and prepare that game. And so he's a heck of a dude and a heck of a teammate, and I got all the respect in the world for how he handled that situation, because it could have went a million different ways, and he was very professional about it. And I think not only does his teammates, his former teammates like myself, appreciate what he brought to the table, but I would have to think that all the fans there in the Boston area, in the New England area, still love him because for everything that he did for the franchise.
Before we hit to the here and now, Adam Vinatieri, I want to hit the Wayback Machine in particular to the day you were a rookie, undrafted, and you're playing for Bill Parcells. What in the world was that like, Adam?
Well, that was an interesting time for sure. I know Coach Parcells was not real big on rookies, and particular rookie kickers, and I think my whole training camp he challenged me every way he could. You know, if it was something like you know, when I was kicking field goals, he would literally stand in my line to kick the ball, or he would cast shadows on top of where we're, you know, or if he would do anything he could to kind of play some mind games with me, which, you know, I don't know what everybody thinks about that, but I kind of like that. I've always kind of enjoyed, you know, being right in the middle of the action and kind of feeling that I've never shied away from trash talking or being in the middle of that kind of stuff. So it was an interesting time. I think the most pressure that he ever put on me was before our third preseason game. Right before our team meetings on the Saturday night before the game, he came up to all of us specialists standing around waiting for the team meeting. He said, "All right, Vinatieri, here's the deal." He said, "I'm going to see if you got what it takes or if you pack up your and get out of here." He said, "You got all the field goals, all the extra points, all the kickoffs. I'm going to see if you can handle it or if you're packing up and going home." And pretty straightforward challenge, I guess, as far as that's concerned. And I had a great game. You know, that game in particular, I made all my kicks, and they released Matt Barr the next day, which was a shock to me because Matt was, you know, his longtime kicker and probably his favorite all-time kicker, and done so much in helping him, you know, win Super Bowls in the past that for him to actually give me the opportunity to try to do this was pretty impressive. But he was always a guy that was trying to challenge not only me but all of his team. You know, he wanted to make sure he had guys that he could trust going into battle and knew what that they had what it took.
Is it true that you didn't really make your bones with him until you made a tackle on special teams of Herschel Walker? Is that a true story, Adam?
Well, I probably, I think at some point, I know after that game and being able to run down Herschel and tackle him, he made a comment to me. He goes, "You're more than just a kicker to this team now. You're going to be looked differently by your teammates." And I wasn't sure that I understood what that meant, but after that, it did change, and I think everybody treated me a little bit different.
You ran him down, Adam Vinatieri. You run down Herschel Walker, man. Look at you. We're watching it right now on the TV feed. Couple more minutes left with Adam Vinatieri, Indianapolis Colts kicker. Let's turn the page now, and you're entering your 13th season with the Colts, which is 3 more than you had with New England. How is Andrew Luck, Adam?
He's coming along. He's getting much better. He's big and strong. He's doing a bunch of stuff in the weight room and running around. His progression is increasing, and I think everybody is very content and happy with his progression at this point. Haven't seen him running live reps with the offense or anything yet, but I don't think that's very far away. I can't speak as I'm not a doctor. I don't want to comment on that or even how far out he is, but he looks good. He looks big and strong and healthy. He's got a great attitude, and everything is kind of showing that he should be back and ready to go.
And how is the Frank Reich administration so far? I mean, it's amazing, right, Adam? I mean, what Frank was in the league 23 years ago when you joined, and now here you are in your 23rd season, and it's Frank Reich getting his first shot as a head coach.
It's awesome. No, he's a great man. I love his passion, and he's very structured is a good way of saying it, I guess. He's got a plan, and we don't deviate from a plan, so it's easy for all the guys to rally behind him and drink the Kool-Aid, so to say, because we've made huge adjustments and changes in nutrition around the building and our weight and lifting programs to make sure that we can try to minimize injuries and minimize. I mean, it's football. We all understand that there's going to be injuries and stuff like that, but we're trying to do everything we can to get us healthy and strong and everything that we can. He's got a great game plan that he's putting into work, and all the new young coaches. We've got a young football team. We've got a young staff, but the amount of energy and excitement that's in the building right now is unparalleled to anything I've seen in the past. It's awesome. Everybody's excited and fired up, and that keeps everybody really, really moving in the right direction. So, young is good. I think we would be by far the youngest if I didn't skew those numbers by being 45 years old. We'd be by far the youngest, I'm sure. But no, it is awesome. It's a work in progress, obviously, but we're making big gains already, and it's only May.
Couple more minutes left with Adam Vinatieri here on the Rich Eisen Show. So much being made that the kickoff is going to be extinct. It does appear that the NFL's taken one last swing at making some rule changes to keep the kickoff as intact as it could be as a part of the game. What do you think of the rule proposals that are going to be placed in front of ownership next week, Adam?
Well, honestly, I feel like any rule that makes the game safer, I'm for, obviously. Obviously we try to set a standard. We know it's tackle football. There's big men running around real fast and hitting real hard. But some of these new rule changes on kickoff are trying to alleviate the big impact plays, the two-man wedges that guys are running down the field full speed, and these guys are running the other way, and it's just the biggest collision in football. So they're trying to alleviate some of that. I'm still a bit of a traditionalist. I hate it when football starts to change and it doesn't look like football anymore, but I think these changes are probably going to be for the better. It's really going to be interesting on how special teams coaches try to find a way to gain an advantage in some of the things that how they're going to scheme and how they feel like that they can, are they going to kick it short and make teams return it? Or are they going to try to go ahead and kick it deep and get a touchback and just, give up that extra 5 yards versus, trying to pin them down farther. So it'll be interesting, and whenever they do these kind of rule changes, it takes about a half a season till you really see the change in what everybody's planning on doing. But there's always going to be a couple wrinkles, and you can't get rid of kickoffs 100% completely, I don't think. You need the onside kick. You need some of that stuff at the end of the game. But anything that helps keep guys on the field and helps alleviate major injuries and major concussions and stuff like that, it's got to be a positive thing.
Last one for you. Who retires first, you or Brady?
I'm going to have to see how many years he's got. He keeps saying he's got 5 to 7 more years. If he's got 7 more years, I'm retiring first. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't have 7 left in me.
How many
I've
do you
got
have?
a couple more for sure.
How many?
Well, you know what? I sit here and I go like this. Hey, at the end of this year, if I played well, if I feel well, my body feels really good right now. I really can't complain. We've got a good program. Our training staff and everything put together a program where I can be very effective kicking and still be strong and maintaining it. And it takes more work. I'm not going to lie to you. Obviously, the older you get, the more nutrition plays a factor, and sleep and all the little things, extra time, soft tissue work and all that stuff. But if I feel as good after the season as I do right now, I'll keep going. And then, and we'll see. If that's 2 years, if that's 3 years, time will tell.
All right, Chris Brockman put in the Rich Eisen Show Twitter account. Adam Vinatieri demands to have his own trainer in the building. Please put that in there.
Got it.
Please. Adam, you take care of yourself, okay?
I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
You bet. That's Adam Vinatieri.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.